Namaskar and welcome once again to kunliconsult.com. Today's video may be slightly long, but it may be worthwhile to look at it till the end because today I'm going to discuss not only one of the concepts which you hear quite frequently in astrology, but also on that very concept, I'm going to show you a different system which gives me far better results, and I use that system very often in my predictions. So today we are going to talk about the Dasha system. Now, often when you go to an astrologer or you hear the various YouTube channels on astrology, you would hear astrologers talking about that, a dasha of moon is running, dasha of Mars is running, but dasha of various planets are running. And accordingly, they tell you what will happen and the remedies. Now, generally, 90, more than 90% of the time, what the dasha these astrologers are generally talking about in most of the YouTube channels and otherwise, which they use, is what is called as a Vimshotri Dasha. It is the most prevalent Dasha, probably because it is most easily understood. And there are some literature which says that in Kali Yuga, as it is called, Vimshotri Dasha would give you the best results. However, if you look at the classic Riyat Parashat Shastra, written by the one of the students of Rishi Parashar, which talks about the Parashari system. In that, Maharishi Parashar has listed more than 60 dasha systems, and Vimshotri Dasha is just one of them. Of course, he does say that in Kali, this is one of the most used dashas, or it will be one of the most used dashas. So generally, that is why Vimshotri Dasha is used. But in that same chapter, Maharishi Parashar says that there is another dasha called Kaalchakra Dasha, and he goes on to say that Kaalchakra Dasha is the best dasha for astrological predictions. However, very few people know how to use it. And if you look through my channel, probably a year back, I had made a small video explaining what is the story of Kaalchakra Dasha. Now, legend has it, or classic side is that Kaalchakra Dasha is a dasha system which Mahadev, Lord Shiva, explains to Maa Parvati. And therefore, you can understand if the person telling as per classic and the person listening them are gods themselves, then it must be a very difficult dasha to understand. But if you understand, there is no failure in terms of the dasha predictions. And this is the dasha I generally used in my predictions, and I haven't failed so far using that dasha system, provided you know the technique to use it. And I actually use Vimshotri Dasha for a different purpose, which is called as Dasha progression. So, therefore, what you have to understand is that when normally you hear from astrologers this Dasha is running, is as per one Dasha, which is Vimshotri Dasha. And there are so many other Dashas, like Yogini Dasha also. Traditionally, though it has different names, but astrologers, Yogini Dasha, they also use it as under the various planets you're running under Mars or Moon or Saturn, whatever it is. So, if there are so many dashas, the only reason people generally refer to Vimshotri Dasha and they talk about is because it's easier to understand. However, Kaalchakra Dasha, which I said I use and is probably I find is the most accurate if you know the technique to use it. And Maharishi Parashar also says that this is the best dasha to use. I'm just going to give you glimpse of one concept of Kaalchakra Dasha and can show you how powerful it can be if you can use Kaalchakra Dasha. So in Kaalchakra Dasha, it is a dasha not by planet, but this is a dasha by the Rashi system. So you in Kaalchakra Dasha, you don't run a dasha of Graha, you run a dasha of a Rashi. So you run, say, be a Cancer Dasha or a Sagittarius Dasha this way. And these dashas differ as per your not only your Lagna Nakshatra, but your moon nakshatra, but also as the pada of the nakshatra. So if you are a Jeshta nakshatra native, then a Jeshta nakshatra native in all the four padas, different people who are natives born in four different padas will run a completely different dasha system. But what is unique is that if you're able to track it, all the major transformations in your life, things which you can say, make a 360-degree turn almost in your life, or major milestones and transformations in your life can be seen very easily by using only one technique of Kaalchakra Dasha, and that is called as a Simhalokan, in which the Dasha system, the transit of Dasha, when it happens, 5 Dashas ahead or behind. So if you're running, say, for example, one dasha, and suddenly when this dasha ends, at some dasha point, you make a jump of 5 dashas forward or behind. And these show major transformation. And I'm going to show you just two examples of this, and you will see how powerful it is. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And this I have, saved it as not with the name, because obviously the name I cannot give, but I've saved it as native one. Now you see this person, this is a Kaalchakra Dasha which is running. And what I'm talking about is that there you see from 2004 to 2014, he is running a Pisces Dasha. But so logically after Pisces, either he should have an Aquarius Dasha in the one direction, or he should have an Aries Dasha in another direction. Now that is one thing that you have to understand, that in Kaalchakra Dasha, even the directions change. So these are the normal two dashas that he would get after Pisces Dasha. But look here, after Pisces, this native is jumping to Cancer Dasha, which means his Pisces is here and he is jumping to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's jumping 5 rashis in a different direction, which means in Kaalchakra Dasha that this is a major transformation. And I'm just using only one technique of it and one way to see that horoscope. So what I do is, when he's running, therefore, when he changes to Pisces Dasha, I make the Lagna when he changes from Pisces to Cancer Dasha, I make the Cancer as his Lagna. Look at this, what happens. If you make Cancer as his Lagna, number one, Saturn comes to his Lagna, which is with respect to amongst various things, as a Karak Tattva indicates job, profession. And look at this. The Lagna Lord goes into the 10th house, which is in Aries, which means a start, and so many planets out there. Even if they were not planets, you use Saturn in his Lagna and the Lagna Lord going in 10. Means there is going to be a huge change as per Kaalchakra Dasha because of 5 Rashi changes in his profession. And what happened was, in 2014, this native who had been doing job all his life suddenly decides to leave job and starts a business with a few friends of his. So look at this, a complete transformation which is indicated by Kaalchakra Dasha by jump of 5 Rashis means a big change is coming in his life. And what is this change that is indicated with the Lagna Lord of the Dasha going into the 10th house? If you make that as the Lagna for that person which is going to run, and everything concentrates on the 10th house, and the Karak Tattva of Kalpurish Kandli or Saturn of profession goes into the love. So you can see how powerful the Kal, only one thing I'm telling you, how powerful the Kal Chakra Dasha is to show you major changes in your life, plus or minus. I'm going to show you another example of it. And there also you can see, how a change can be seen under Kaalchakra Dasha. Now, this is the horoscope of another person, and I'm using the same Kaalchakra Dasha, same one technique of trying to figure out if there is a huge jump. Now, here I'm going one level deeper because sometimes in one particular area there may be a huge change. That was a life change which is happening at a major dasha. Now I'm suppose looking at the second level, which is an Antardasha level, and even there you can see. So in the Antardasha level, when he is running the Taurus Mahadasha, in that again you see from 2014 to 16, he runs a Scorpio Antardasha, which is here the 8,000 is normal in his Kundali, and then the Dasha jumps 5 Rashis, as the Kaalchakra Dasha shows, 5 jumps, and it goes to Pisces. So what I'm going to do is again from Scorpio, the change is in Pisces. So I'm going to make Pisces as his Lagna and see what is getting affected. And here you see the 12th Rashi, the Lord of the Lagna, which is Jupiter, goes into 6th house. 6th houses of service, 6th houses of dispute, and Jupiter, which is the Lagna Lord, also rules the 10th house, which is the Sagittarius sign. And what this gentleman did when he Pisces Antardasha came, he was working abroad, an Indian person working abroad for so many years in job. He changes his job, leaves that job, and suddenly comes to India due to a minor dispute out there, leaves the job, comes back to India after having worked abroad for 8 to 10 years. So again, you see a major change. Lagna Lord, when I made the Antardasha Rashi as the Lagna, shows the 5th house, dispute, service also 6th house. You see service also, something to do with service. The Lagna Lord is the Lord of the 6th house and 10th house, which means change with respect to profession. And look in Lagna, again, Saturn, the Karak of profession, is there. Together with Rahu, Rahu indicates foreign land also. So he leaves his foreign hand, leaves due to a small dispute there, comes back to India, which is again shown as a major. It's a major decision. Somebody who's been working abroad, staying abroad, leaves a job because of dispute and comes back to India, search for a job in India, and he stays back. So therefore, you can see, in Kaalchakra Dasha, which Maharishi Parashar says is the best dasha. Unfortunately, lives just one shlok and lives it there. And a lot of people, lots of astrologers have done research, and there are various methodologies to see it. So I'm not describing which methodology I use, but I normally use Kaalchakra Dasha for my astrological predictions, and you can see the major transformations. If it is not showing in Kaalchakra Dasha, I have seen that major transformation does not happen. It may get close to it, but it does not. After all, if this is a dasha set by Lord Shiva, then it cannot go wrong. And so far, in my astrological readings for so many years, I haven't seen Kaalchakra Dasha going wrong the way I use. I hope with today's video you have understood that Dasha systems, what you hear can be so many things, and there are so many ways to look at it. And I have got introduced to one of the Dasha systems, which is used rarely, but if you know to use it, gives dramatic kind of results, or at least tells you the major transformation points in your life. Thank you. If you do like my video, do subscribe to my channel to continuously get my other videos and share it with your friends and relatives. Namaskar.